JJ, the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. This is my wife, Amanda, the Amanda. And I'm a CPA. She is a Realtor. We don't want to sell one thing to you. Please don't call us. Okay. Like, don't call us unless you're in Oklahoma City and in fact in Edmond, which is a very small group. So this podcast is not to try and get you to hire us. What we want to do is provide some good information to you, husband and wife here, CPA, Realtor, kind of bring some uniqueness. All right, I've already talked enough. Tell us how you're doing.
Well, also, I want to add, we want to bring some entertainment to you.
Yes.
Because for some reason, when we get together, our last podcast went a little bit over our goal time of like 20 minutes because when we're together, we tend to talk because we just have fun. He's my best friend, and we are so excited that you were here. We have a lot of fun things that we were going to talk about. I think our whole goal with this is just to bring education to those who need it about real estate.
Absolutely. And, we talked about it at the end of the podcast, but Amanda has written this wonderful book, Piper's Grand Adventure, The Move That Made Us Laugh. And it's her first book. Now, I'm going to hand this over so that you can talk a lot about it. But with this, what probably people are noticing is that we're wearing the same thing and we have the same backdrop as episode 1.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, if you've watched episode 1 to know that, thank you. If not, go back. But with this, talk about this new book that you got, babe.
Yeah, so this is Piper's Grand Adventure, The Move That Made Us Laugh. This is a real estate book that is focused on you being able to start the conversation with your child about moving. Piper is a cute little girl and a wonderful family, great friend, and she is having to move, and she's having to move and leave her bedroom with polka dot curtains. She's having to start over at a new school. She's having to leave her friends. So this is just a way for parents to start that conversation in a fun way with their child about moving.
Yeah, and you've gotten some really wonderful feedback. We got a link in the body of the video if you'd like to check out that book. So what we want to visit about is when to start the relationship with a realtor when you're buying or when you're selling.
Yes.
We want to talk about, well, when's the right time to start talking to your lender, and then your mortgage broker versus a lender. What's that really mean? The relationship with your tax advisor. Well, when do you talk to your tax advisor, depending on if you're buying or you're selling? And I want to talk about ask.
Ask. Yes.
Ask.
Yes.
You and Kaylee have put together some really neat resources. And then also talk about those that I've partnered with that could be a resource for everybody here as well, which is Home and Money, a link to that.
Yes.
So here's the deal. When somebody is looking to sell their house, when is the right time to hire a realtor?
In the very beginning.
And when's the beginning?
As soon as you have made this, you've looked at your husband, you've looked at your significant other, you looked at your dog, and you're like, I want to move. The first thing that you should do is look into your community, get some recommendations, talk to family and friends, interview at least 3 different real estate agents, because don't just go to the most popular that's in your area. That they're popular for a reason. That means that they're doing a great job, but they may not mesh with you. It is so crucial for you to find somebody that has the same personality, somebody that you can become friends with, somebody that you're not going to mind visiting with multiple times a day, spending hours of time with them. So I always tell everyone, interview multiple realtors before you decide on the one, because maybe your best friend that lives next door is a realtor, but you're not going to mesh with them in that type of situation. So that's really imperative.
Yeah, and just like anybody, they are getting ready to represent a lot of people's biggest asset in their portfolio in terms of all of their assets, including what they have for retirement, et cetera. And, really for us though, I've been going back and forth and we've been talking about, do we want to sell our house?
Right.
And we have too much house, we're an empty nester, but we have a great rate. And we had made that decision. And of course, I hired you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah,
my wife.
he didn't interview two other agents.
Yeah, I didn't follow your advice there.
Did not.
But you came in and basically said, okay, I'm looking at the comps, here's what we can think we can sell it for, which was higher than what I thought, but then actually, we decided to kind of stay put. So my point in saying that is that you don't have to come to like, okay, now we're moving, we need to move because I'm ready and I want to hurry and buy this, so now I better hire somebody. I think that, yeah, when you decided you're going to sell, I think it's an earlier time than most people think, right? So if you're laying in bed with your significant other, or you're talking with your friends, if you don't have a significant other, and you're like, I think I want to sell, I'm really getting serious about it. That's really that time. I mean, that's really, if you're thinking that. Now, what about when you're wanting to buy? When would be the best time to bring in a realtor?
In the very beginning, and for that as well, I am gonna back up just for a second. Whenever you guys make that decision that you want to sell, it's not something that like you contact me on a Wednesday and we have your house listed Friday. It's never not normally that. There's a lot of appointments and a lot of talking that's going to have to go into play before we get your house ready to go onto the market. So that's another reason why it is really imperative to get a experienced realtor in there on your side in the very beginnings, because you want them to help you get your house ready to go on the market. Now, as far as buying, again, needs to be the moment that you are sitting at home or driving your car, or you drive past a sign and you're like, you know what, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to start the conversation, because the realtor, as soon as you establish that relationship, they're going to get you in touch with a mortgage broker, who's then going to go through everything and make sure that you have all your finances, because that's the most important part of all of it. But your realtor is going to be there also to guide you and to answer any questions that you may have along the way. And then the fun starts of us looking at homes. And then we'll go in and once we find the home, we'll make the offer for you. We'll work on the negotiations on the offer for you. And then once it's accepted, then we also help you out with all of your inspections and make sure everything goes well with that. And then to take you all the way to the closing table. So we are really the person that is standing beside you, holding your hand, making sure that you understand everything that's going on. That, because like he just said, this is the biggest investment in people's lives, and it's so emotionally invested in that, there's a lot of emotion with it as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, with those that are looking to buy, talking about the numbers on the CPA side, talking to a lot of my clients, is it's not the time to talk to your lender when you found the right property on Zillow, that now you're talking to a realtor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The first thing you want to really find out is, can I qualify?
Right.
What can I qualify for?
Right.
How much money am I going to have to put down?
Right.
Because that's going to be the number one factor to determine, well, what is it that you're buying, to then know what your budget is.
Yeah.
And if people want to take a peek to go, well, okay, based on that, then I'm going to take a look around, as it's even the kind of house. But that'd be also the time to talk to a realtor. We talked in episode 1 that you're getting somebody in some new construction for really about the same price as what they thought, because of all these other factors. But then I do want to drive home that you say holding hand, but when you're buying, that seller has no obligation to tell you anything. There's certain disclosures they need to make, but ensuring that you have an inspector that's coming to say, well, this isn't right, or that's going to need to be fixed, and this needs to be something that's updated, and negotiating and make sure it's a part of it. And I just know there's a lot of people out there basically think, well, I can just go to Zillow. Why do I need anybody to help me, whether it's buying, whether it's selling? And for those that just want to go that way, try it.
Yeah.
Be a for sale by owner and see where you get. See how your pricing is. It's not just about showing the house once or twice. If you are a buyer, and I promise you, if you're a buyer and you decide, well, I don't need a realtor, you will pay too much. There will be things missed. And it doesn't mean that the seller is some shuckster, scamster, bad person. The seller is going to say, here it is.
Right.
And you're getting ready to drop 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, 500 grand, $1 million. Like, well, I don't want to have a buyer, realtor involved with this. And well, I'm getting ready to sell. It seems like a sky. All I'm saying is that's part of what we're wanting to do here. But going back to the buyer.
Yeah.
And I said, getting with that lender, deciding what it is that you can afford. So many think, well, I'm gonna go into my local bank or I know a banker and so I'm gonna visit
Right.
with them, which yes, can work. Lot of advantage to talking with a mortgage broker, which usually a realtor is gonna know the right fit.
Right.
But talk about the difference from going into your bank versus getting with a mortgage broker.
Absolutely. Now, everybody should have some sort of relationship with your own personal banker, 110%. However, whenever we start talking about mortgages, I don't think a lot of people understand that you could be like, let's say you're sitting here and you're listening to this and you're like, okay, but I'm not ready to buy right now. I know my credit's shot. I don't have all the money for a down payment. It's going to be like 6 months before I can probably even start looking at houses. Actually, that's the time to get in there and get that relationship with that mortgage broker, because a lot of mortgage companies right now have programs that they will come in and they will pull your credit and then they will do an analysis on everything and they will say, okay, this is how much you can afford. You're not quite there yet. However, here is a list of homework for you to go home and do within the next 6 months for us to get you to where you need to go. I've had these conversations with my son. My son is 21 and he's going to be looking to get into buying a home within the next couple of years. And so I do have him in contact with a mortgage broker who has already pulled out credit on him, but has him on a plan that he needs to follow to get him ready to buy a house. And then also those mortgage brokers are going to know what grants are available for like first-time home buyers, what grants are available for, financial assistance with getting your down payment and stuff covered. So it's really important to get with an experienced realtor who has the network of mortgage lenders that they can refer their people out to.
Well, and when I was buying my first house, the biggest thing that I heard about a mortgage broker is that they're able to shop all the banks or many, many different banks.
Yeah.
And, it comes down to, well, who's going to give you the best interest rate? And believe it or not, a lot of your local banks, your national banks, they're not in the business of really doing home mortgages.
Right.
And many of the banks that are local, so both times buying went to the local bank and the next day they sold it to a nationwide bank. So there was advantage going to my local bank,
right?
Because they basically were helping me with that, but they almost worked as a broker from behind the scenes. But a lot of local banks, they may not really be geared towards it. We have some relationships with some wonderful bankers and they just say flat out, like, we're kind of your last resort,
Right.
Check with a mortgage broker because they're able to shop around, make sure you're getting the incentives. And so for even those that have great credit, even for those who go, I have plenty of money to put down, even those who go, well, either don't need or I don't want, I'm not going to qualify for a grant. It's shopping the different banks to get and ensure you're getting that best rate, if you will.
Yeah.
So talk about you and Kaylee.
Yeah.
Both of you are at Oklahoma and if you're in Oklahoma, talk with them, but it's not at all the point of this podcast.
No.
Being on YouTube, this is something that's, bigger, hopefully audience than right here in hometown Edmond, America. But talk about Ask.
All right. So Kaylee Wiles is a realtor on my team, and we have partnered up because we have saw a need for real estate agents to get in front of the public. There's a lot of questions out there that people have that they don't have anybody to turn to or anyone to ask. So Kaylee and I saw this need and we came up with Ask, which is Amanda and Kaylee.
With the S being a dollar sign.
With the S being a dollar sign.
We need to get you guys' logo.
Yes, we do. So we are hosting a free real estate class.
You can't come to it.
Yeah.
You're not invited. Just so you know, this podcast is all about. You can't come, right? Unless you're right here in Oklahoma.
Unless you're here.
Yeah.
But we are offering a free real estate class and we are talking to the public about different areas of real estate. Last month was our first one. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. Our guest speaker, JJ the CPA, went in there and talked to everyone about taxes. But Yeah, so next month is going to be about resizing instead of downsizing. We're going to change it to, or not resize, right sizing, finding the right
Yeah.
size for your family right now. So we are really excited about that. We're excited to get in front of the public to answer questions and to make it a place where people can come in and ask questions and not be like, oh, I feel stupid asking this question, because there's no stupid questions. And those are the people that are sitting on the sidelines that are like, I don't know if I can do it right now. You know, I have these medical bills. I mean, I got student loans. We want you guys to have a safe space to come in and have those conversations and ask us. And then we have a huge network of power partners that have powered up with us to support everybody in the real estate journey.
The real reason that we talked about her sharing that is if there happen to be any realtors tuning in.
Yeah.
And you're looking for ideas.
Yeah.
Because you're not invited.
Yes.
Okay, unless you know me, you know Amanda, having fun. And
Yeah.
it's not online, it's not public, and it's not a
No.
membership or nothing. But for realtors, listening to you and Kaylee seeing a need and getting in front of the public and providing a resource, and with these power partners, what's really neat, you put together a magazine just for those that come. You don't get a copy of it.
No.
Okay, this isn't to get you a copy of this, right? There's just nothing here for you other than great information.
And
unless you're an
entertainment.
admin, right? So, but, and entertainment, yes. But what I love about really with, also what you and Kaylee have put together is that this is now, if you're hiring you, ask, and Kaylee, and again, this is for realtors to think through, right? This isn't for you to go, should I hire Amanda, Kylie? But if they're hiring you, you've got two of everything that they could want from, and name, not the business names.
So,
Because you do have commitments, but at the end of the day, what kind of power partners do you have?
so we have accounting, we have handyman, we have lenders, we have HVAC, we have moving companies, we have title, we have home inspectors, we have electricians, like we have it all.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, when you are bringing on a realtor, it's like, oh gosh, there's all these other things that come into play. And these are people that you've done business with and are proven, and you know, and you have a track record with, which I think is huge. Well, to round us out, let's talk a little bit about, when do you want to talk to your tax advisor? So what are some of the kind of the biggest questions that come up for somebody that's selling their home if they're talking about taxes?
Oh, it's gonna be a lot about, you know, the capital gains. It's gonna be a lot about like, what are my taxes going to be? It's going to be, you know, visiting about 1031 exchanges. What even is that? I'm sure that you guys have heard the term if you've been around JJ's channel long enough, but to a seller, what does that even mean? Like, you know, especially if it's the only home that they've ever owned, no one's probably ever talked to them about what a 1031 exchange is and how helpful that can be for you. So it is so important to have your finances in order whenever you are walking in there to either sell your home, or you're walking into a mortgage broker to get to buy a home. And so it's important, if you can't hire a CPA, that you find a tax advisor, a tax professional.
What I'm saying here to those that you're saying, hey, talk with JJ, is that when you're selling your home, it's real straightforward. You're not gonna be able to take the proceeds and put it into another house and somehow avoid any taxation. Okay? That was something that was 20 years ago, but many people still think that's the case. It's not. There's 1031 exchange, but 1031 exchange is really for property that was held for investment or for business purposes. So when we're talking about residential that you've lived in, it's fairly straightforward. Now, if you're in the military and you got to move and all this, yes, there can be some exceptions. The IRS has wonderful information about it, irs.gov, but check in with your tax advisor. And it's really it's about this straightforward. If you've lived in your home at least 2 years of the last 5, then your gain for an individual up to $250,000 is not taxable. It's tax-free. For married filing jointly, it's $500,000. So your sales price is determined by this. Okay, I sold it, but for tax purposes, it's I sold it, but then what were my costs to sell it, right? So that's basically a net sales price. But then you take, well, what did I buy it for? And is there any cost that I paid when I bought it? So you're taking that, plus were there any actual improvements to the property that is going to stay with the property that you're selling? So it's the difference between those two numbers where you then determine if you're an individual, 250,000 or less, not taxable, 500,000 or less, not taxable. Different states, you'll have to check with your state to see if there's a different provision in that regard. Now, if it's over that dollar amount of gain, then you are going to have capital gain. If you've owned it less than a year, well, your capital gain rate is the same as your ordinary tax rate. If it is a capital gain rate, well, there's a 0, there's a 15, and there's a 20%. If you are now looking at, well, I am going to get into another property, and I am looking at selling and then getting ready to buy one, then that might be where, and you're going to have a taxable gain. Well, that'd be where you're talking with your mortgage broker and your realtor, and are there some avenues that you want to be considering related to this? So with that, at the end of the day, it's fairly straightforward. Now, for a buyer,
Are there any tax write-offs? No,
No.
when you buy it. Well, I heard that mortgage interest and real estate taxes are deductible. Yes, but mortgage interest, the amount that you actually pay, as well as then your real estate taxes that you pay, it's part of your itemized deduction. So itemized deductions versus standard deduction, whatever's higher is what you want to take advantage of on your federal tax return. So we have a lot of people that they're getting into their home, but their interest that they're going to pay is here, plus their real estate taxes are here, maybe some charity, but the standard deduction is here. So they're just going to take the standard deduction. So it's not that the mortgage interest and real estate taxes and charitable isn't deductible. It's just that it's not going to be a deduction on top of your standard deduction. So that's where you want to take a look. And at the end of the day, it doesn't usually yield enough savings to go, well, I'm not going to worry about the interest rate because I'm going to pay, or I don't need to worry about real estate taxes because I'm going to deduct these things. All right, I bet we're at our time. We need to get a little different timer because that thing keeps going down.
I need to turn my phone where it doesn't turn off.
Yeah. So a resource for you to check out is Home and Money. I'm going to put a link, but Home and Money's free to you. I'm going to make a few bucks, like very little. Maybe you can buy me lunch if you just click on it and put your info in, but you don't need to do that because if you just go to my landing page, there's a ton of free calculators. Just stop there. Don't hand in your name. So what? Point is, though, you can find realtors around the nation. If you're in Edmond, I'd be dumb not to say, well, you need to talk with Amanda. But with that, you can find realtors that have been vetted around the nation, 50,000 of them. Also, you can find mortgage brokers, no obligations, and grants. I would probably say this is the biggest resource that many could find in going to the Home and Money that's free.
Yeah.
You don't have to provide any of that information. So that's why I teamed up with them, and I'm just happy to be partnered with them because I think they're providing a ton of benefit and value at really, I mean, no cost to the person that's going here, no obligations. And with that, we have wrapped up episode 2. What do you think?
I think it went great.
So we had an audience out there because I noticed when we were talking, you do what I do. So here in the office, we're at my office here for the CPA practice. I don't know why I do this, but when I'm on the phone, like if you're anywhere in the building, you can hear me.
Oh.
And then my son works with me now, and you can hear him. Because when we're on the phone, for whatever reason, both me and my son just following my footsteps, and I'm trying to break the habit. I don't just talk in a normal voice level. For some reason, and with Coop, I'm like, do you think they can't hear you,
I think
Coop?
it's because I feel like I'm on stage with you.
Yeah.
I'm on here with a celebrity, so my butt gets a little sweaty and all the things because I'm like, I have to make a good impression. I'm on here with JJ, the CPA.
But you're all behind the scenes. It wouldn't be where I'm at for real as JJ's CPA without you, babe.
Okay, well, thank you. You're so sweet. I will work on my tone.
Well, you did good this time because, in episode 1, when it was time for you to talk, you were like, let's go.
Give me the mic. I want all the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm having fun with you because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But what I loved is it's like, well, maybe if we did have an audience, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, thanks for coming. Yeah, we'll catch you next time. Then,
No
yeah,
autographs.
yeah, then the voice goes up. So anyways, all we're saying is we're still finding our rhythm.
Yeah.
We are just doing 2 episodes right now. So when they come to episode 3,
Hopefully
We'll
this will
have,
be all prettied up for you
yeah,
guys.
something different, maybe in pink,
Of course.
you know, and so check out Amanda's book, link in the body of the video. And if you haven't checked out episode 1, do it. If you're watching this a year from now, then check out all our episodes because we plan to release a new one every Sunday at 2 p.m., which is the standard open house time. And that's this show here. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a realtor quite like Amanda, my wife. And
Thank you guys. Never met a CPA quite like JJ.
thank you. We did it.
We did it. Bye.
See ya.